Kevin O'Leary defends Donald Trump on CNN following his $355 million fraud crime. How is it going, guys? Welcome back to Unwoke Thoughts. Tonight, we are talking about this conversation that Kevin O'Leary, yes, Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful of Shark Tank, this conversation that he had on CNN with Laura Coates. So after a judge ordered Donald Trump to cough up $355 million in this corrupt case and banned him from running his company for 3 years in New York due to some charges, including fraud, guess what? Some folks in the business world are scratching their head and asking, where's the crime? Where is it? I'm looking for it. Where's it at? One of these people, of course, is Kevin O'Leary, the host of Shark Tank, who went on CNN's Laura Coates Live this past Monday to talk about this. But since this verdict, O'Leary's been all over the media saying this whole thing is going to be a catastrophe for business in New York. And he says if this verdict is upheld, because Trump is most definitely going to appeal this verdict, but if it is upheld, it would mean that business owners all across the United States have been committing fraud for decades, because what Trump did is nothing new. It's not fraud, but it is in fact a regular practice within the real estate industry. Listen to this.
Wouldn't there be many companies who would not want to do business or loan money to people like yourself or investors if they know that they can get away with fraud and there's no recourse to protect them?
Excuse me, what fraud? This is not about Trump anymore. When you get a developer that builds a building, and he says it's worth $400 million, and he wants to borrow $200 million from a bank, which happens every day, everywhere on earth, including every American city. Every developer is an entrepreneur. They shine the light on their building and they say it's worth 400. The bank does its own due diligence, as was done in this case, because they're very good at it. The banks are very good, and they say, no, it's worth 300. We're only going to loan you 150 million. That haggling has gone on for decades. That's how.
So I think this is an important point here, because Kevin O'Leary is saying, listen, banks, whenever you want to take out a loan, you're going to make sure that your asset is reflected in the best light. And they're going to do their due diligence to make sure that this number that you came up with is in fact the right number. And if the bank comes up with a lower number, then you and the bank negotiate on that number. And then ultimately you agree on a loan amount.
How it works. And then in this case, even the bank that was supposedly defrauded testified and said, we didn't lose anything. We want to do business with this guy again. We'd like to. But the judge said, no. Let's penalize this developer for $355 million. And if we're going to do that, let's penalize all the developers all across America. They've all done the same thing. All of them.
And consider for a moment that the judge did this. The banks came in, they said, no, we actually want to do business with Trump again. He was a very good client. He paid back his loans with interest. But instead, Judge Engoron hits Trump with this $355 million fine, which doesn't go to any victim at all. It, in fact, goes to the state of New York. How is that not robbery? I mean, we think taxes are bad, and I believe that taxation is theft. But this right here, to me, is just flat out robbery, and it's very clear.
Should go to jail, and we should stop building buildings. That's what the message is from New York. Even the governor herself is concerned about what this looks like to investors all around the world. It's not just U.S. domestic. All around the world, people are talking about what happened here. You really think people want to invest money in New York after this? How about we go somewhere else?
I think there are people who would. I don't want to cut you off, but I want to converse with you instead.
You just did.
It's only because I want to have a conversation, Kevin, as opposed to just having you tell me. I respect you because you're a lawyer.
You're a lawyer. You understand exactly what I'm talking about.
I got to tell you, I'm respectable for a number of reasons, Kevin O'Leary, but being...
Oh, so yes, this lady right here, she doesn't like the fact that Kevin O'Leary is, in fact, bringing up a lot of very good points. And you can really tell what side of the aisle that she is on, because she does not want to engage with any of these points that he's bringing up, but instead she wants to keep bringing it back to the fact that Trump was actually charged or was convicted of this quote-unquote crime that he was apparently a part of. And she wants to talk about that, but she doesn't want to talk about the implications of this ruling and the fact that this has never been done before, that this is an entirely new thing, convicting a real estate developer for something real estate developers do every single day in the United States, as Kevin O'Leary said.
A lawyer is one of those issues, but I'll tell you, when I hear your conversation, and I do want to converse with you about this point, I understand that there are legitimate concerns that were raised during the trial and will continue to be raised about who the quote unquote, who is actually bringing the suit. It wasn't the banks who were saying that we as consumers or unsophisticated feel this way. But Letitia James, the Attorney General, and I know you want to expand beyond Trump, has suggested, well, it's about making the playing field level for those who are not the major and billionaire investors, but for those who are supposed to put business records out there, want to get a loan, the idea of making sure.
Okay, so this point that she brings up, she says, maybe it's about making the playing field level. What does that have to do with anything? Aren't we all supposed to be equal under the law? Why is she even bringing up this point? To me, this point is completely moot. Whether you're a billionaire or whether you're poor, you should be equal in the eyes of the law. But that's at least what I thought. As an American, that's what I thought we should be. But what do you guys think?
That they have to have the same true statements included as those who have a lot more money. Is there any weight to that for you?
Well, I asked you who lost money, and I'll make it even clearer. You and I, we're developing a data center together, and I say to you, we can go to New York, where this just happened. It's your money now. You're now an investor, and you're taking risk. You're an entrepreneur with me, right beside me. We're together on the deal. Or I can show you Oklahoma, North Dakota, West Virginia, where the governors actually ran businesses. Let's go there, where this never happened before. They have power. They have permits. They've got legislation that's supportive of entrepreneurship. Why would we go to New York? Why take the risk? My only point is, did we just diminish the great state of New York and the great people of New York? And shouldn't they ask for better management so they don't become a flyover state? Remember, New York has the highest taxes in the country, the worst regulatory environment, and it's incredibly mismanaged. And I'm pointing out now, on top of that, you get this insanity. A victimless crime, and forget about Trump. It's not about Trump. I don't care about Trump in this. I care about America, and I care about entrepreneurship, and I care about democracy and the fairness. The judicial system is now being criticized. People are asking themselves, the bar of New York, is this judge rational to charge $355 million in a case where no one lost any money? Is that good for the people of New York? Should the people of New York wake up to this and say, what's happening to us? Why is this becoming so perverse? Why are we the focus of this injustice? And I have nothing to do with Trump. I'm not supporting Trump. I'm supporting American entrepreneurship. And New York is slowly becoming the #1 loser state in America. I'm sorry. That's what's happening.
So there is one thing I disagree with Kevin O'Leary on when he says this has nothing to do with Trump. I think it does have everything to do with Trump because this was a politically pointed, politically biased attack against Donald Trump. And that's what makes it so egregious, right? Because it is pointed specifically at Trump because of his politics. And that could happen to any one of us. And that's why I think this causes such a visceral reaction in people when they see this happening to Donald Trump, because this is not about anything he actually did. Like Kevin O'Leary points out, this is something that real estate developers do every single day in the United States for decades, for years. But then he brings up a very good point. Why would a business owner or an entrepreneur want to move to New York, or someone who already lives in New York? Why would they want to start a business after this ruling? The risk is just too big. And another thing about this ruling is not just an isolated ruling. If this ruling is upheld, then courts in the future can reference back to this ruling because court rulings create a precedence. And this is why you always hear people saying that this is creating a dangerous precedent, because future courts can be like, well, look at this. Look at Trump versus the state of New York. This is their ruling, so therefore we can use that in our decision for this current ruling that we are debating over right now. But what do you guys think? What do you guys think about Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful, going on CNN and to their faces saying, listen, this is a dangerous precedent that has been set? What do you think about the fact that he said that New York will become a flyover state and has become a loser state? What do you think about the fact that he is saying, like, listen, why would any business owner want to move to New York when this risk is this large? I mean, in New York, you already have the highest taxes, and I think the highest corruption as well. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. Like and subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it. But until then, I'll see you on the next one.